Fellow gardeners, are you tired of lackluster garden results despite religiously applying NPK fertilizers? What if I told you that focusing solely on nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is like trying to nourish your body with only 3 vitamins while ignoring the other essential nutrients your body craves? Today, we're going to shatter the myth that NPK alone creates thriving gardens and explore the hidden world of micronutrients and soil biology that truly transforms plant health and yield. The NPK illusion: why your garden isn't living up to its potential. For decades, the gardening industry has conditioned us to believe that NPK ratios are the holy grail of plant nutrition. Walk into any garden center and you'll be bombarded with fertilizers boasting impressive NPK numbers like 10-10-10 or 20-20-20. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Many gardeners following this NPK-centric approach are experiencing disappointing results despite their best efforts. You might recognize the symptoms in your own garden. Perhaps your tomatoes develop blossom end rot despite adequate watering, or your fruit trees produce abundant foliage but sparse small fruit. Maybe your leafy greens look healthy but taste bland, or your flowers bloom poorly despite lush green growth. These frustrating issues often persist even when soil tests show adequate NPK levels, leaving gardeners scratching their heads and wondering what they're doing wrong. The reality is that plants require 17 essential nutrients to thrive, not just 3. While nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are indeed crucial macronutrients needed in relatively large quantities, focusing exclusively on them creates nutritional imbalances that can actually inhibit plant health. It's like trying to build a complex machine while only having access to 3 types of screws. You might get something that resembles what you want, but it won't function optimally or last very long. Unveiling the micronutrient magic, the unsung heroes of plant health. Beyond the big 3 macronutrients lies a fascinating world of micronutrients that, even though they're needed in such tiny amounts, play absolutely critical roles in plant metabolism, disease resistance, and overall vitality. These micronutrients act as catalysts and cofactors in countless biochemical processes that keep your plants functioning at their peak. Boron, for instance, is essential for cell wall formation and plays a crucial role in flowering and fruit development. When boron is deficient, you'll notice hollow stems in your broccoli, cracked celery stalks, or poor fruit set in your apple trees. Zinc deficiency manifests as stunted growth and yellowing between leaf veins, particularly noticeable in corn and citrus plants. Iron deficiency creates the classic symptom of interveinal chlorosis, where leaves turn yellow while the veins remain green, and that's commonly seen in acid-loving plants grown in alkaline soils. Manganese works alongside magnesium in chlorophyll formation and is vital for photosynthesis efficiency. Copper helps with enzyme activation and disease resistance, while molybdenum is essential for nitrogen fixation in legumes. These micronutrients work synergistically, meaning a deficiency in one can affect the uptake and utilization of others, creating complex nutritional webs that NPK fertilizers simply cannot address. The challenge with micronutrients is that their deficiency symptoms often mimic other problems or appear alongside macronutrient issues, making diagnosis tricky for the average gardener. However, once you understand their importance and learn to recognize their absence, you'll start seeing your garden struggles in an entirely new light. The hidden world, your soil's microbial universe. Perhaps even more fascinating than micronutrients is the incredibly complex ecosystem living right beneath our feet. Every teaspoon of healthy soil contains billions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, and countless others, all working together in what soil scientists call the soil food web. This microscopic universe is the true engine of plant nutrition, and understanding it will revolutionize how you approach gardening. These soil microbes don't just exist passively in your garden beds, they actively participate in plant nutrition through intricate relationships that have evolved over millions of years. Beneficial bacteria and fungi form symbiotic partnerships with plant roots, extending the root system's reach exponentially through hyphal networks that can stretch for miles underground. In exchange for sugars and other carbon compounds that plants produce through photosynthesis, these microbes provide plants with nutrients in forms they can readily absorb. Mycorrhizal fungi in particular are absolute game changers for plant health. These beneficial fungi literally extend plant root systems by creating vast underground networks that can increase a plant's ability to absorb nutrients by up to 1,000%. They're particularly effective at accessing phosphorus, which often becomes locked up in soil and unavailable to plants. The fungi can also help plants access micronutrients like zinc, copper, and iron that might otherwise remain out of reach. The soil food web also includes predatory microorganisms like protozoa and beneficial nematodes that hunt bacteria and fungi, releasing nutrients in plant-available forms through their waste products. This natural cycling of nutrients creates a self-sustaining system that provides plants with a steady, balanced diet of exactly what they need when they need it. Building your soil's living foundation. Creating and maintaining this thriving soil ecosystem requires a fundamental shift in how we think about plant nutrition. Instead of viewing plants as passive recipients of fertilizer inputs, we need to see them as active participants in a complex biological community. This means moving away from the sterile, chemical-dependent approach and embracing practices that support soil life. Composting becomes not just a way to recycle kitchen scraps, but a method for cultivating beneficial microorganisms that will colonize your garden beds. When you add quality compost to your soil, you're inoculating it with millions of beneficial microbes, along with providing the organic matter they need to thrive. The key is using diverse organic materials in your compost pile. Kitchen scraps, yard waste, coffee grounds, and even shredded paper all contribute different nutrients and support different microbial communities. Cover cropping takes this concept even further by providing living roots in the soil throughout the growing season. Plants actively feed soil microbes through their roots, releasing up to 40% of the sugars they produce through photosynthesis directly into the soil. This constant feeding keeps microbial communities active and growing, which in turn provides steady nutrition to your garden plants. Even in small garden spaces, you can plant cover crops like crimson clover or winter rye between growing seasons, or use living mulches like white clover between vegetable rows. Minimizing soil disturbance is equally important because tillage destroys the delicate hyphal networks that fungi spend so much energy creating. No-till or low-till practices help preserve these beneficial relationships while also protecting soil structure and preventing erosion. When you must work the soil, do so gently and only when necessary. So let's talk about natural amendments and feeding the whole system. Moving beyond synthetic NPK fertilizers doesn't mean we're abandoning plant nutrition. It actually means we're embracing amendments that feed both plants and soil life at the same time. Rock dusts, like basalt and granite meal, slowly release a broad spectrum of minerals over time, providing those micronutrients that synthetic fertilizers typically just don't have. And, kelp meal offers over 60 trace elements along with plant growth hormones and beneficial compounds that can really enhance disease resistance. Fish emulsion and bone meal give you nutrients that are readily available while also feeding those important soil microbes. Worm castings are, honestly, perhaps the most perfect plant food out there. They contain not only balanced nutrition, but also beneficial bacteria and enzymes that work to improve soil health. These natural amendments work a bit differently than synthetic fertilizers. They release nutrients slowly and in response to soil conditions and what your plants actually need, so you avoid those boom-bust cycles that synthetics often create. The real beauty of this approach is that it creates positive feedback loops. As your soil life becomes more diverse and abundant, the soil's ability to hold and cycle nutrients improves dramatically. Organic matter increases, soil structure gets more stable, and water retention improves too. Your plants become more resilient to drought, disease, and pest pressure because they're receiving balanced nutrition and are supported by all those beneficial soil organisms. Testing beyond NPK means really understanding your soil's true needs. While basic NPK soil tests definitely have their place, getting a full picture of your soil's nutritional profile takes more comprehensive testing. A complete soil analysis should include things like organic matter content, pH, cation exchange capacity, and micronutrient levels. Many university extension offices offer these expanded tests, or you can work with specialized soil testing laboratories that focus on biological soil health. It's important to pay particular attention to your soil's biological activity indicators. Tests for soil respiration, active carbon, and microbial biomass give you valuable insight into just how alive your soil really is. These biological indicators often correlate more strongly with plant health and productivity than those basic NPK numbers. Understanding your soil's pH is crucial because it affects nutrient availability no matter how much of any particular nutrient is present in the soil. Most nutrients actually become less available to plants as pH moves away from the slightly acidic to neutral range that most garden plants prefer. Instead of trying to dramatically alter your soil's pH with synthetic amendments, focus on gradually improving it through organic matter additions and by supporting microbial activity. Your garden's transformation awaits. The journey beyond NPK isn't just about better plant nutrition, it's about creating a garden ecosystem that's more resilient, productive, and sustainable than anything synthetic fertilizers alone can achieve. When you start viewing your garden as a living system, rather than a collection of individual plants, everything changes. You begin working with natural processes rather than against them, and your garden responds with vigor and abundance that might surprise you. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but you can start implementing these principles immediately. Begin by adding compost to your beds, reduce unnecessary soil disturbance, and experiment with organic amendments that provide broad-spectrum nutrition. Observe your plants more closely, looking for the subtle signs that indicate not just what they need, but how well your soil ecosystem is functioning. The most rewarding aspect of this approach is, honestly, just watching your garden become increasingly self-sustaining over time. As soil life flourishes, your plants become healthier and more productive with less input from you. Pest and disease problems diminish, yields increase, and the quality and flavor of your harvests improve dramatically. You're not just growing plants, you're cultivating a thriving ecosystem that supports abundant life both above and below ground. Remember, every garden is unique, and developing this deeper understanding of plant nutrition and soil biology is an ongoing journey of observation, experimentation, and learning. The principles we've discussed today will serve as your foundation, but the specifics of how they apply to your particular soil, climate, and growing conditions will unfold through experience and careful attention to your garden's responses. Are you ready to move beyond the limitations of NPK-only thinking and unlock your garden's true potential? Start by taking a closer look at your soil, not just as a medium for holding plant roots, but as the complex living ecosystem it truly is. Your plants and your harvest will thank you. If you found this deep dive into plant nutrition valuable, make sure to subscribe to the Living Soil Lab for more science-backed gardening insights that will, really transform how you grow. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to move beyond basic fertilizers and create truly thriving garden ecosystems. Together, we can build a community of gardeners who understand that healthy soil is the foundation of everything we grow.